Sound check, sound check. Okay, and we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports. If you haven't already, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave your comments. We appreciate it. Okay, so tonight we have a special guest. We have a guest that's returning, a guest that has been on the show before and has a wealth of knowledge to share with the boxing fans around the world. Her name is Garcia. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Ingram. How are you, love?
I am very well, thank you. How you been?
I've been doing good, doing good. Miss you guys over there in Ireland.
Fantastic, good to know. For those people who don't know who Garcia is, fire away.
I am a personal chef for fighters. Last when I met Ingram, I had worked with Jesus Cuellar in 2015 when he knocked out Victor Darchinian. And I am all about eating healthy, but helping one make weight the correct way. Not the last minute, not in the last 4 days, not in the last 4 hours, not in the last 4 minutes. I have recently worked with Brandon Bam Bam Rios, who was a fabulous man, in June of 2017, June 11th in Lancaster, California. And Brandon made weight unbelievably fine. He came in actually at 146.4 and was able to eat the morning of his weigh-in, which is very rare out there for fighters and boxing fans. If you don't know fighters, what they go through to cut weight, it is insane. They have lives, they have families, they have loved ones, they have wives that work full-time jobs, they have children. They do normal things like kids going to karate, kids playing baseball. They go to sleep, they eat, they drink, but they have to do everything on a timely plan. And that's what I do, is I create a feeding plan. I don't call it a diet. It is a lifestyle for me. But for fighters, it should be a feeding plan. The reason I call it feeding, it's because it's like a baby. Babies eat every few hours, and as frequently as babies eat, a fighter should eat as cutting weight. Your body should never think that it's starving, because when it does, it stops losing weight, goes into starvation mode, and then it says, oh no, I'm not going to eat anymore. And then it hangs on to whatever it can hang on to, and that's what stored fat is. That's what creates stored fat. So basically, a fighter should eat every 2 hours, small meals frequently, high in protein, lots of berries, I believe in berries. But basically, cutting weight is very, very important for the health of the fighter, for longevity as well. So I think this should start early on in the careers of fighters. Recently, I saw a weigh-in, I believe it was in Brazil. The fighter literally went down on the scale. They had to pick him up, and he did fight. I can't believe how he fought or why they let him fight, but he was in no condition to do so. So basically, what I'd like to bring to the boxing world and fans, so you know how hard it is for a fighter to cut weight. The last few weeks are intense, and the mental status of a fighter as well as his physical status should be insanely intense. And that's what I do. I help the fighter make weight and be able to have his mental status like a happy person, and also have the strength of a beast like he should in the ring. And then rehydration is also extremely important. But basically, the cutting of the weight, the extremes that fighters go through, going in saunas, wearing sauna suits and jumping rope in the last 4 days and not eating or drinking a thing, is really super bad. what it does is it takes the water off your brain, and then it creates all kinds of other problems within the body. Kidneys fail and whatnot. So basically, it's really just eating, not waiting to the last minute and saying, oh, I have a fight in 3 weeks and let me cut weight now. No, it starts at the very beginning. And I believe if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. But that's just my philosophy, because I've always been into the fitness world, and I did fitness modeling, fitness bikini contests. So I always had to be within 7 to 10 pounds of my weight, or I was going to be a mess. And but fighters have to actually physically get in the ring and perform and win if they want to maintain a status in the world of boxing. However, a model or a competitor only has to stand there and pose. We could feel like junk, but it's a whole lot different than when you're in the ring having to get yourself beat on and then beat back. So that's basically it. I mean, fighters do go through horrific extremes, and there was a fighter back in, I believe, 2001 or 2002. His name's Pedro Alcazar, and he was actually knocked out by a body shot. And what had happened was, later on, he passed out, and he had dehydrated so badly, they had found out he actually died from cutting weight, from the dehydration of the cutting weight. He had taken the beating just so badly from training so hard toward the end. Dehydration, that's what happened. He passed out after he got a body shot in the ring, and later on when they did studies, they found out he actually died from his weight cut. So my mission in this world of boxing is to help you fighters out there and the boxing fans to know, this is not something that is a joke. It is very serious, and the more and more that the California Commission, I know, is trying to work on it, but throughout the world, I mean, we really need to look at this. This is somebody's life. This isn't a joke. This is their lives, and they have to actually live their normal lives, like doing things like going to the movies. They actually can't go to the movies and enjoy popcorn, but I actually make it so that can happen. I make it so that if a fighter has a sweet tooth, like my Bam Bam, he has a sweet tooth, and I always had little sugar-free candies for him, and whenever he would want one or want some, or I thought that he did really super well in the day, I'd give him a few sugar-free sweets. There's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of options for enjoying those satisfactions that you really, really love, and you don't have to give them up. In my feeding plan, I actually have all that. I have everything tweaked. I have everything from pizza to barbecue chicken tweaked to the nines. Doesn't taste exactly the same because you don't see the grease, but trust me, it works. Because you don't have to go without with what you love. You just can't have a whole lot of it. But I do have all the tweaks down. I've got it down to a nut. And if I could bet on myself, I'd win.
So, take us back a bit. What are the sort of stories that you've heard about? And obviously, you've seen the ones on the TV about the gentleman who got pulled off the scale or fell down off the scales, fainted, and then boxed afterwards. Talk to us about your experiences or fighters that have come to you and the sort of experiences they've given you of making weight, and what's been the most horrendous one you've heard?
Well, the most horrendous one that I actually just recently saw was that one in Brazil. I couldn't believe it. And for the life of me, the names that lapsed me, but it was terrible watching the weigh-in. And then that poor boy was it was like he looked like a starved dog in a third world country. Sorry for, saying that to anybody out there in the world, but that's exactly how the poor kid looked. And he was a kid. And they still let him fight. I mean, after rehydration, he looked a lot better, but who knows how long he went without eating. And that little bit of food that he ate for rehydration and the 24 hours or maybe even 8 hours he had to before he got in the ring, that really wasn't enough food, because his body needed more than that. His body needed to eat up until the very 10 hours or 12 hours prior to going into the ring, prior to weigh-in. So the intensity of this is like I said, just that recent one. That's what made me actually reach out to you, Ingram, was, I just saw enough. And after that one, then a couple other things had come to mind, and this other thing with the IASTM, what I was talking to you about. I know it's a whole nother extreme.
Yes.
But the instrumental assisted soft tissue mobilization.
Right.
Again, it's IASTM, instrumental assisted soft tissue mobilization. Recently, I was injured myself from being in the gym and working out like a crazy person. And chiropractic care, yeah, it works. But I have a buddy by the name of Fernando, and he's in the process of getting his chiropractic license. And he actually is the person, I started with him, training with him at KO Gym in Oxnard, California. And he's the person that taught me, if you're going to train like a beast, you need to stretch like a beast. Otherwise, you're going to be injured. And that's another thing with boxers. Injuries. There's not enough stretching going on. So basically what this IASTM, instrumental assisted soft tissue mobilization, does is it's a scraping process with some metal tools, and they actually scrape away the tissue, the old tissue in your body, so that way you can have more range of motion and more stretch, like if you've never stretched before, you start stretching, your body has more extensive mobilization. And so you can find Fernando at limitless_FT. That's limitless_FT, and that's Fernando. He's absolutely fabulous. He has saved my life. But going back to that's another thing. It's feeding and also taking care of your well-being, your body. You have to make sure that you do all of those things. Get the therapies that you need, the massages. This new thing, IASTM, is unbelievably fabulous. Fighters and boxing fans, I am my own guinea pig. Whatever I would give to you, Ingram, or my fighters, is something I actually do myself. I try everything before I actually recommend it. Why? Because I want to know what to tell you, how it's going to feel. Or if I don't like it, I'm never going to show it to you. I'm not even going to mention it to you. I'm just going to be like, okay, thanks a lot, but no thanks. So everything I use is my life. I do it to me, and if I find that it's absolutely fabulous and it works, then I work it. If it's not broke, I don't fix it. So if it works, like with one fighter, like with Bam Bam, our last run was absolutely fabulous. Right now, we're just in like a hiatus mode, just waiting for a date. Brandon works very well with what we did. So therefore, we're going to do that again. We're going to continue to do what we've been doing, not change a thing. And I'd like to administer, the IASTM to have Brandon get introduced to that as well. But other than that, Ingram, it's a terrible thing, just the way fighters spend so much time working on making weight and fighting at such a low weight from what their normal body weight would be. It's so paramount that we do this healthily, and we do it in a timely fashion, not in crunch time, not in the last 4 weeks, not in the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Yes, they have problems with getting dates, but it's nice to maintain a little bit within the 10 or 15 pound range, I think, prior to fighting. Like I said, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I know it's very hard because there are normal lives out there, but it's just safe. It's only safe. And, going back to that guy in Brazil, he was super young. And I know from experience that I started doing this feeding thing since I'm 12, but I actually started doing the bikini thing, the competing thing, when I was 19. And because I have done this so long, I can do things like enjoy Thanksgiving, weekend, literally enjoy Thanksgiving weekend, and then go back to my normal self on Monday and feel a little bloated and probably a little crappy because I ate so much junk. But at some point, my body will just say, no more. You can't do it, because it's so used to eating very, very well and very, very clean that I get my fill real fast. And that's the idea, is to train yourself so that you know when to stop, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. There's just little techniques. There's a lot of tweaks that you can put into your life. Personally, anybody out there, any of the fans, just normal people, it can be done. It just takes a lot of work. It's not easy. So that's why you need BB.
Okay, BB. There's a lot of information you've given there. I'm gonna try and sort of like absorb it and then come back to you with questions. But I have a question with one of our regulars, truth and facts about boxing, Mr. Bo Bland. Check out his channel and subscribe to it. Lots of great stuff there on his YouTube channel. But he has a question. He says, I have a question for BB. How far down in weight should a fighter go outside their natural body weight?
Well, I think one should fight within, somewhere 20 pounds, 30 pounds, but that's not going to happen because try telling a fighter that. So, as close to their normal body weight as possible, but it's where the money's at. So it's, tell a fighter where they're supposed to fight. That's not going to happen. They decide that. So I would think within, try and stay within their own weight range, but it's like 20 pounds, 20, 30 pounds. That's fine.
Really?
But a lot of fighters just like to go where, it could be where the money is.
Okay. Well, your client, Brandon Rios, is a perfect example because he's a guy that we know in the past has had problems making weight. So when you spoke to Brandon, or how did that hookup work in the first place?
Okay. So I gather Brandon was looking for a chef, and he had hit up a mutual boxing friend, Pelos Garcia, who is a nephew of Robert Garcia.
Okay.
And Pelos texted me one afternoon and said, "Hey, are you still around? Are you chefing? Are you available?" And I said, "Sure." I said, "I'm available. I'm in town. I'm currently not hooked up with anybody." And he says, "Well, Brandon Rios is looking for a chef." And I said, "Okay." And then like a week later or so, Brandon and I connected, and I met with him and his wonderful wife, Vicky. And we sat down, we had a meeting, and we discussed, what I do, how I do it. And I was there the very next morning, and that's how it happened.
Oh wow! So what's he like as an individual? I know the Brandon Rios on TV and the Brandon Rios hyping up fights. What's he like, but away from the camera?
Brandon is a fabulous person. He is a family guy. He loves his family extremely to the T. His kids, his wife, much respect for his in-laws. I can't say anything about Brandon other than he just loves his family. He's such a family guy, and he's definitely a man of his word. If he says something, he means it, and he says what he does, and he means what he says. But first and foremost is his family. That's why I described it. I get in on the nitty gritty of these people's personal lives, and there's a lot going on, and he juggles a lot. He's a dad, and he's a husband, and he's a son-in-law, and he does all of that and fight, to make weight. But I think the way we did it was, there was an art to it, and he was able to juggle it a lot easier by having me shadow him. I mean, I was with Brandon probably more than I'm home with my own husband, and he was with me more than he was with Vicky. But the bottom line with that is also the way that hooked up was he came back after the Bradley fight, and his wife, Vicky, had stated, "If you're going to do this, you're going to do this right, or you're not going to do it at all. I'm not going to support you if you don't do it right." And that's how we did it. So there's a great communication system there too. I have to give props to Vicky Rios because she had been there for me toward the very end, and we worked hand in hand together. There was another guy also named Dave Bolin. He was in there with the nutritional, like a lot of supplements and whatnot. It was good teamwork there. Even with Ricky Funes, weighing Brandon every single day before and after training. It was an excellent run, and like I said, but Brandon is a family man, and his wife comes right to plate. She's going to Sam's, like, "Do you need anything?" and texts me a list, and she takes a lot of the burden off of running to the store and then having to come home and prep, and then also with the kids, and stuff like that. I would help with those little guys. Those 3 kids are unbelievably fabulous and my favorite little guys, and I love being around them too. And he's just a great dad. He's a great family man.
Right. Okay. So talk to me about Brandon Rios, the state you met him in, to the mindset needed to change him from what he was doing previously to what was unsuccessful for him to what has been success. Talk to us about the change, the before and after effect.
Okay. the Brandon, excuse me, that I met. Okay, so we go to the gym, 10 Goose Gym, and that was new surroundings for me, so I had to figure things out. I travel with a blender, so I had to go find ice to make his shake, because I believe you have to. Well, in fact, 30 minutes protein, 30 minutes within training. So after his training, he'd weigh and whatnot, and I'd want him to have a shake for the ride home, because you're looking at an hour of a trip back home, hour there, hour back. So he'd have to have shake in hand at all times coming back. So I was on my little, run looking for ice, and I come back into 10 Goose, and I see Brandon doing some form of a workout inside the ring. This was the end of his training, and he was as white as a sheet. And I got scared. I thought I was really literally going to have to jump into the ring and save Brandon. Like, I thought he was going to go into cardiac arrest. He was that malnutritioned. It was near the end of the training that day. So basically, I didn't know what to do. So I just kind of watched him and just made sure he was breathing. And then what I did is I implemented a multivitamin. That was basically what he needed. He had said to me maybe a week later, he had said, "Oh my God, I feel a million times better." That's what I needed, was the multivitamin. He didn't have vitamins, and he wasn't having nutrition. And then also I just basically implemented that he had meals every 2 hours. The person that he had prior to me, I don't know her personally, so I can't speak on it, but apparently there wasn't a good connection, a good form of communication, and therefore he wasn't getting his food on time or something. I can't speak on that. But what I can speak on is that I implemented the fact that he ate in the morning. He had a snack on the way. Every 20 minutes, I mean, you can watch videos of Brandon talking about how I'd be bothering him while he's trying to zone out on his music time. And he would just I'd be just like, "Are you hungry? Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you hungry? Are you hungry?" So basically I was there to hand him a snack or fruit or whatever it was, whatever time of day it was. So that's what helped Brandon, was having me shadow him. That's what I call it, shadowing, is that he was never to go without a banana or maybe a protein bar, like I said, depending on what time of day it was. So he always had food. He was never without, and that's the key. And that's how he succeeded.
Okay.
Yeah, well, also his wife telling him that he had to do it the right time or she wasn't going to support him. That was a big factor in it. He'll tell you that.
So how much weight does Brandon normally lose? What's Brandon's normal walk around weight, and then what's he have to lose to come down in weight to fight?
Well, I mean, I met Brandon at 164, 165.
What? Say that again.
164, 165. I mean, it depends. I don't know his normal walk around weight, because when I met him, he was, a little up there, but he was coming down really rapidly. So he has to come down to 147.
So he walks around closely like a super middle or like a middle or super middle.
Maybe, yeah.
Wow.
So that's why I was saying there's an art to it, but there's also a lot of things that go into it with the fighter. The fighter has a life, and a lot of people don't understand that. It's not, that easy. And when people bash Brandon, "Oh, he's this, he's a punching bag, he's this, he's that." Hey, listen, that guy's been through a lot, okay? And I'd like to see anybody out there that bashes Bam Bam get in the ring and do what Bam Bam does and live the life that Bam Bam does. He's a family man. He has a life. He's a human being. And that's also what I want the fans to know, that these fighters, they're human beings. They have lives like you and I, except their lives are 10 times harder. They can't go to the popcorn stand. They can't go have hot dogs. They can't eat tamales on Christmas Eve. They have to just refrain and watch everybody else. And so those things are hard, and that's their life. I know they choose it, but when they bash on Brandon, this and this and this, Brandon's had an awesome career, okay? Brandon's had an excellent career, and I give anybody a challenge out there to get in the ring with Brandon that bashes Brandon, and I'll pay them to get in the ring with Brandon. Just keep bashing.
So now he's down at the weight that you want him to be at, correct?
he gets there. We're waiting on a date right now, so just kind of, yeah.
So then it'll be the same. And do you now control the weight he goes up to, or is he just allowed to eat what he wants now until fight time, or when there's a fight date?
No, we work on the feeding plan at all times. That's always implemented.
So there's no him now blowing up to 160 pounds. He'll stay weigh 10 or 15 pounds outside his own weight, or how will that work?
He has to if he wants to be happy. And he knows that. He was as happy as a clam, and I'll send you pictures, Ingram, and you can post them of how happy Brandon was on his way in. And that's another thing, is that the guy smiled from ear to ear because he was making weight. He looked like $1 million, and you could tell he felt like $1 million. And he said in many interviews that he had felt the best, or one. Yeah, I think he had one other fight that he felt really good. This was probably the best that he's felt. And he was able to eat the morning of his way in.
Okay, interesting. So let's talk about other fighters. This will be a pretty good, interesting topic. Tyson Fury. We've seen how big he's got. He's over 25 stone now. He needs to get. Yeah, he's gonna have to get himself down to fighting weight, and he thinks he can do it quite quickly. Talk to me about the effects of a fighter losing all that weight so quickly.
Yeah, it's a death sentence, Ingram. It's a death sentence. Okay, like I said, it's got to be done, and it's a process. But for Tyson Fury, that's a death sentence. I've seen him. I follow him. I'm actually a fan of his. And he's got to get on that wagon now, or it's going to be curtains, because he's older, and the body can only take so much. Hey, listen, if you take your body down so fast, it's going to take a toll on your organs. You got to remember that liver and those kidneys and everything else inside, your pancreas, everything else needs to tick. So you can't shock your system. So that's what I'm saying. The mentality can't be, oh, I can do this. If you've never done it before, you don't know. Your body is different than everybody else's. I mean, and that's why I say it's got to start in the very beginning of the careers of these fighters. If you haven't done it, the older you get, the harder it is, and the more discipline you have to have. Excuse me. If you don't have that discipline, and you don't know what you're doing, I don't know who he has doing it for him. But that's another thing, is either doing it yourself or having somebody do it for you. When you have someone handing you the food saying, here, it's 2 hours, or, okay, so you've eaten now and it's 12 o'clock, so you're going to eat again at 2 o'clock. And I kid you not, Tyson would be at the table waiting for me at 2 for his meal, whatever the meal was going to be. So that would be that.
Okay. Let's talk about Ricky Hatton, another prime example of a guy that would blow up and down in weight between fights. What does that do to you talked about that, but what does that do to a fighter's career in terms of longevity?
Longevity, it's going to hinder, again, it's going to hinder the longevity, because of the fact that, if we don't do this at the very beginning, it's not going to be a known thing. It's not like your body has muscle memory. So does your stomach. Your stomach and all of your organs have memory. And it's like, oh, okay, it's fight time now. Okay, I have 8 weeks. But if you've been doing it all along, then it's like, oh, okay, we've done this before. But if, in like Brandon's case, he hasn't done it like that before. So if he goes anywhere past the 2-hour mark and gets hungry, his body goes into that, holy crap, we're going to, starve again, because this is what he's done to us all along. And then it just hangs on. Brandon will blow up instead of go down in weight. And that will be the same thing, with Ricky Hatton. I mean, again, you just can't look, if there was a magic wand, I'd be a multi-millionaire, because I'd hold that wand, because everybody thinks I have it. But somehow I don't. And that's just it. I mean, you've got to do this stuff gradually. It cannot be done overnight. And that's why it should be done over a process of time. Longevity, there isn't any. You're beating on your body. I mean, outside of the socking and the beating that they take physically, the body gets beat on mentally from being food deprived. Food deprivation is one of the worst things that you can do to a fighter because of the fact that it takes away from their strength and their performance, and therefore it takes away from the lifelong, their longevity. I mean, seriously, just an average person, if they don't eat correctly on a regular basis, the person that eats hamburgers from McDonald's on a regular basis, and or the person that goes to the gym and eats relatively healthy, not exactly like a vegan or a clean person, but just relatively healthy, who's going to have more health problems? The person that doesn't go to the gym and eats McDonald's. So if you expect to get, blood from a stone, it's not going to happen. So Ricky Hatton, good luck to him, and good luck to Tyson. But it's a process. It is a process. It's not going to, there is no magic tool. If there was, this world of boxing wouldn't have the problem. We wouldn't be having this interview.
Okay. Gazzo, good evening. And Gazzo says, I'd like to know what the weight making process does on the body long term, past boxing and into later life.
How do you mean? Like the weight making process? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if it's done over the length of a person's career, then it's going to do nothing. I mean, it's going to just be, the body could probably be extremely normal. But if a fighter goes up and down 20, 30, 40, some 60 pounds, it's going to take away from their lives. I mean, it's going to shorten your life, period. You just can't, our bodies are not built to go up and down in weight like that. It's called yo-yo dieting. And then what happens is it just freaks the body out completely to eventually where the body either will shut down because of cutting weight, the body shuts down and like the kidneys will fail, or, with the brain having no water on it, you've got dehydration to the point where the person passes out and just dies. So if we don't do this right over the whole course of a career, which is definitely not going to happen for a whole lot of fighters, then no, there is no longevity. I don't know what the lifespan is. I haven't done that study, but I'll look into it.
I want to go back to Tyson Fury because he's quite relevant in terms of him cutting the weight. What I'm concerned about is he's been out of the ring 2 years and he's blown up a hell of a lot in weight. Is it possible we can still see that guy that performed against Klitschko that night 2 years ago, or is that unrealistic because of when he does lose the weight? Will he be the same fighter, or is that not? Is that okay? He's been resting. He's been eating how he likes. It doesn't matter. He'll lose the weight and he'll come back just as good or even better.
I think it's going to have a traumatic effect on him. Honestly, that's just the personal from what I do. I think it's going to have a traumatic effect on him. I don't know what he's been eating or what he's been doing, but he's pretty ballooned. So, again, I honestly, I think it's going to have a traumatic effect on his performance unless hey, look, he performs like a beast. I mean, he is a beast of a fighter. So if he's training consistently, and is going at it, it could very well possibly be that if he loses the weight correctly, he could still be that same monster. Again, everybody's body is different. And the one thing that I completely believe in is just that the weight loss process has to be done gradually. And if the fighter is training consistently, I wouldn't see is the strength or the force or the speed or any of that being taken away from him. It's just the weight cut. Is the body going to lose the weight in the amount of time he needs to, or is he going to be scrambling in the last 4 days and running in the, jumping rope in a sauna with a sauna suit on? Because here's the deal. If that's the case, then it might as well be just curtains, because you have a fighter, if you're eating all along, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever, all right, but you're about 6 or 8 pounds out, and you can't make it out. You can't get it off. And then they go into the sauna and do the sauna suit jump rope regimen. What happens is you deplete your body of all of the great stuff, all of that hard work that you did for the 8, 12, or whatever weeks that you've been doing this. So it really has to be done carefully. It has to be done very consistently, but again, gradually. It cannot be done overnight, because what has to be done too is it has to be done to the point where we have to see where he is, how quickly he loses a pound a day, how many pounds he has to lose, when the fight date is, and how quickly he adapts to a feeding plan. And then we would know. It would only be just testing out the waters of an actual plan. The right feeding plan for someone like Tyson, as large as he is, to go eating smaller meals and getting used to that and seeing how his body takes it. And that would only just be something, it would be a test run, have to try it.
Okay.
I think he has a good chance, though, if he did it correctly. Absolutely.
Okay.
I believe in him.
Let's talk about, I'm going to mention 2 fighters to you, or maybe 3 fighters. In the lower weights, well, when I say lower from Tyson's weight, James DeGale and George Groves, 2 guys who are quite big for super middleweight, but they both seem to have stamina problems going down the stretch. Why would this be the case?
Again, I believe it's in the diet, it's in the feeding, and it also could be supplemental, or here's a whole nother gamut, could be hormonal, could be in the blood, could be something that they might be depleting in testosterone wise or blood wise. I don't handle that. Victor Conte with SNAC does that. SNAC, SNAC.
Yes.
He does offer something where
wait, hold on. You mean the Victor Conte?
Yeah.
Well, Victor Conte, there's been some question marks about Victor Conte. I'm not saying that, but there has been regarding.
I know that, but that's all over and done. That's so old. Forget about it.
Okay.
I love the product. I love the man. He's a genius. And what I'm saying is that he offers a blood test that can see where a fighter is missing or depleted or too much of. I mean, we can actually have too much potassium, but I don't think that would be the case in a fighter. But he would be the person I would send a fighter to find out why my fighter, or a trainer's fighter, our fighter, the team's fighter, has a stamina problem. Because if it's not, I don't know what their diets are. So if it's a stamina issue, I would think, and if they're cutting their weights correctly and their feeding is correct, and they still have a stamina issue, I would move right into hormonal and blood. I would have that. I would definitely, if I saw that, if I was on the team, that would be my first and foremost situation. I'd be like, okay, we got a blood problem here. We got to see what's going on. Why we are so sluggish? Why our stamina is out? There's a reason.
Could it just be the fact?
Not the nutrition, then it's definitely internally.
Could it not be the fact that they're fighting at a weight division they should be fighting really at light heavyweight and not super middleweight? And it could be something as simple as that they're coming down too much. It
could be, but I've seen people like Jesus Cuellar come down from who knows what weight to 126 and be a beast. So I don't know. Again, I don't know them personally. I would have to see what their feeding, their diet was. It could very well be that, and that's why I said within 20-30 pounds, to your question there, that a fighter shouldn't try and, freak himself out, freak his body out too much. But again, a lot of these guys, 99.9% of them are so headstrong. You sit there and try and tell a fighter, well, this really isn't a good idea for you. I mean, that's the reason they're fighters. It's because they're ornery. They want to fight. So, yeah, I mean, you have a very good point there, Ingram. I would say maybe that could be the case too. Let them try it and see what happens. But I would check the blood first because, hey, if there's something wrong with blood, we don't want anybody fighting at any weight for any reason, because there could be a problem in there that could be detrimental. So I always believe in doing blood on people anyway, period. First, to find out what's going on, make sure everything's in check.
Okay. Anthony Joshua, big talking point, massive talking point. We talked about the amount of weight he's put on from when he first turned pro to what he looks like now. The size, the muscle mass he's put on, and people have put the muscle mass next to the stamina problems he has. What are your thoughts about that? And is that diet? Is that too much muscle mass? Or is that something else?
Oh yeah, I personally think I am big with this muscle mass thing. I think it could be the muscle mass thing, because the two can't mix. I don't think. I think the muscle mass with Anthony Joshua would be a big situation. He is a large man, but I think muscle mass might have something to do with it because. Fighters really, I mean, there's weightlifting, there's bodybuilders. Like you said earlier, a bodybuilder could probably never get in the ring just because they look great. Don't mean they could get in the ring and do what a fighter does. So muscle mass is a big deal. And I think it takes away from speed in some people's situation. I think it takes away from performance, but I definitely do not decline on a little weightlifting here and there and strength training, but not too much, because it's, they're fighters. They're not supposed to be bodybuilders. There's a difference.
So with Joshua's situation, would you say he's done too much weightlifting?
I think he looks a little weightlifty to me. I mean, I probably. I'm not, I don't know him personally. I've only seen him. I mean, he looks weightlifty. I mean, for a fighter. So if that's, if he's having issues again, it would have to be something to test out with the diet and maybe cutting back on the weights and slimming up a little. I think he's a little bulky. Yeah, maybe now that you say that, yeah. For sure.
So then if you are now going to bring Anthony Joshua down from the big weight that he is now, and your diet is to bring him down, how do you bring a heavyweight that big down to a slimmer version? And can you do it? And is it genetics, as somebody said?
Well, I would try it. I can't guarantee I can do it, but I'm pretty sure it could be done, and I would do it just the same way I would do any fighter or any person for that matter. It's just a matter of having a regimen and eating every 2 hours and having the small meals. Again, it's also communicating with the fighter and finding out what their likes and dislikes are, because a lot of it too can be mental. It's like, oh, well, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of that, I want this, I want that. Like with Brandon's case, Brandon loves lemonade, and he would be driving back home, and he'd be like, "Can you make some lemonade?" And I'll be like, "Okay." And again, like I said, I have everything tweaked, so I make a big ass thing of fresh home squeezed lemonade for Brandon to his tasting. So again, a lot of this reverts back to diet, Ingram. I can't put emphasis on feeding or diet. Let's use the terminology diet. I can't put emphasis on diet enough. I could train your regular Joe or Jane. Okay, and if Joe or Jane is going to leave my training session and go and eat McDonald's, they're not going to benefit from the money they're spending on training with me. So that's why I offer the feeding plan and the training. When I train someone, and that's just personal training, not boxing or anything crazy, it's just personal, regular gym training, body boot camp and stuff like that. But I offer the feeding plan, and that's why I provide the meals. It's 80 or 90. Some trainers will say it's 90%, some will say it's 80. I say it's between 80 90%. Hey, abs are built in the kitchen. That's a quote from Tony Horton, P90X. Abs are built in the kitchen. I can be with a fighter or a Hollywood personality, and I cannot get to the gym. And I will send photos. If I'm out of town, I'll send photos to my husband. And he's like, "Oh boy, you're cutting up." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not in the gym." Why? Because I'm eating exactly what they're eating. I'm eating as frequently as they are, but I'm not going to the gym. Yes, my ass is going south as I'm doing this, but I'm losing weight. Why is that happening? It's happening because my body's used to doing this, and it's just a process. I've trained my body to lose weight, and again, it's a lot of it's diet, Ingram. It is diet. So what these people are eating and how frequently they're eating, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're eating McDonald's, but I don't know, how they're eating. And there's a lot of things that fighters shouldn't have that they eat, and there's there's a lot of things they could have. I mean, I like to get Brandon down to what I call steak eating weight, so that we can give that boy a nice filet mignon and some asparagus and maybe a little bit of brown rice and some black beans. And he gets there, and then the next day we have sparring day, and he turns into a monster. And it's like, dude, it's amazing. It's amazing how the food works. Get him to 154, and he gets a steak, and the next day is sparring. And I'll tell you what, that steak is doing its work as well as that beast of a fighter. You know, that he's bam, 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 like crazy after having a steak the night before.
I have an old friend that sparred with Brandon Rios, and he said to me that Brandon Rios hits like a truck, and that was then.
Yeah, I have not been hit by Brandon, but I've been close enough to get hit by the sound of his swapping on whatever he's hitting, and I give props to whoever gets in the ring and spars with that guy. I'll tell you what, they're crazy. They have a death wish.
Graham M asked the question: does BB ever cook uncastrated wild boar for Brandon during the camp?
No, but we can ask him.
Okay.
If he'd like to try it, I definitely will figure out a recipe for this and where I will buy it. I can have it shipped in.
Right. I want to ask some questions or rumors or things you hear fighters say, which I know is absolute rubbish, but I just want to get it past it by you. I'm sure it's rubbish. First thing, a fighter says, I've been eating this diet now, and I'm punching harder than ever, and I'm fast than ever, and I'm in the best shape of my life because of this new diet. Can you bring me some sort of proof that if you have a better diet, you punch harder?
Well, I just told you, when Brandon eats a steak, the next day he's an absolute beast in the ring.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. All right. I understand that, right? But, and then you see the fighter get in the ring and they get knocked out. And it don't add up to what they were saying beforehand.
Well, then it's a bunch of crap then.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying to you.
I think, yeah, I mean, hell, if someone's sitting here telling me, and I'm not going to, because I don't want to beat on my fighters, no pun intended, because I love those boys, they go through it. If someone comes in here, a client comes in here and tells me, well, yeah, I've been doing this and I've been doing that, and I haven't seen you in 3 months, but I've been training here. Like, all right, well, give me 40 pull-ups, and they can't do but 5. I know they haven't been training. So it's the same thing, anybody can, it's talk. It's talk. It's probably because rumors are out there, and they just need to set those rumors back. And it makes also, hey, when we talk a good game to somebody, it makes us feel good. When we talk a bunch of rubbish, as you say, it makes us feel better about what we know is not right. So I guess when we lie, and we talk ourselves up in more ways than we actually are, maybe that's what the fighter's doing, to maybe make himself feel better, or maybe make his people around him think that he's doing what he's doing, or convince himself that's what he's doing. But you're exactly right. I mean, if it doesn't add up, then no, I don't know. I recently saw this commercial with the new diet, as they call it, and it's like, oh, lose 30 pounds in 30 days. And, that's all fine and dandy, like this Nutrisystem and all that crap. That's all fine and dandy, but here's the deal. These quick fix diets, they're only for someone that actually, this is how I philosophize it, they're only for someone that's actually like your average Joe or Jane that needs to fit into a wedding dress or a tuxedo to go to an event or have a wedding, and then boom, go on the honeymoon or go on a vacation and blow up like balloons 24 hours after. Because there's no way in hell one can live the rest of their lives on Nutrisystem food or Jenny Craig food or Weight Watchers food, because it doesn't exist in real life. I was recently with a Hollywood personality, I will not use his name, and we traveled the country. And this guy has to eat out in restaurants. And so how is he going to do Weight Watchers? It is not possible. So what I would have to do is call in to restaurants prior to and say, I'm with so-and-so, I'm coming in this time, I'd like this, and I need this, this, and this. If you don't have it, can you please get it? And that would be the way to do it. It has to be a structured, quote-unquote, diet. So there is no new diet. It's a lifestyle. And that's what I keep saying. And if you eat normal people food, I don't know what a new diet is. I mean, there's a lot of different plans out there. There's the paleo diet, which, I do follow a little bit of. But there's just, you've got to be as human as possible to be a human being. Fighters are human beings. And so are all athletes. So you have to eat as close to human food as possible. That's why I said everything is tweaked. I mean, if you want barbecue chicken, I have a way of making barbecue chicken, and it tastes exactly the same. It's just not going to have all that sugar and fat. So basically, yeah, what you're saying, Ingram, makes sense. If the two don't add up, oh, I'm on this new diet, all this hype, and then they get in the ring, it doesn't add up, then yes, it is rubbish. Absolutely.
Okay. Shoaib says he's in the best shape of his life, and he wants to thank KFC.
Well, tell the Colonel I salute him too.
Okay. People that are in the chat room or listening to this, please ask. You get your questions to BB Garcia. She has a wealth of knowledge here. Gazzo says, what does BB think of stuff like raspberry, ketones, etc., real supplements, or cash grab from manufacturers?
The raspberry ketones, he say?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And then the natural, as most natural as possible. I'm not into the manufactured stuff, although, hey, you know what? I have a protein powder that I love, I go by, and it works. So here's what I say. Try it out, and if you find that it is working for you, then use it. A lot of these companies, for instance, everybody's into organic. I don't believe a damn thing unless I see that chicken alone in a range with his other chickens pecking on just chicken food. I don't believe the damn thing's organic. So anybody can stamp organic on organic. Anybody. And everybody's doing it. So I would say try it. I mean, manufactured stuff has too much fillers and product and colors. I'm not into any of that. I try and get as natural as possible. But if I find a supplement that works, by golly, I use it. I mean, a very good example of a multivitamin is Alive. I don't know if they have that in the other countries, but I think it's put out by Now Products, but it's called Alive, and it comes in men and women. It is a multi. The only one thing is that the actual multi that the men use has fish oil in it, and so 10 days out, a fighter would have to switch over to the other men's multi. It's one without the fish oil, because the fish oil thins out the blood. But I find that it's a fabulous product, and it is bought over the counter. It is bought anywhere from Walmart to your regular store, just depending on if you want to get a little bit of a discount. And it's a fabulous supplement. It's a fabulous multivitamin. It's what Brandon back. It made him, feel great.
Okay.
So I think, try it out.
What does BB think of following a keto diet for a long period of time?
Again, I don't think, unless you're extremely disciplined and you can be that creature of habit, go for it. Go for it. If it works for you, work it. But if you want to go and if you have a wild crave and you want to eat pizza or you want to eat a hamburger or KFC for that matter, you might really screw yourself up. But if you can think that you can do that for the rest of your life, then go for it. I don't think it's reasonable, but I don't put it down in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I know people that are vegans and are totally fine being vegans and do vegan things 24/7, 365. So if that's something that you want to do, but you have to make sure that that's something you got to do the rest of your life. You can't just go off that, and if you do, you'll get extremely ill. It is definitely, it's hard to do. I would say I wouldn't try it myself.
Miss Cortez from California, Los Angeles says, What does BB think about juicing and cold pressed juice?
Good one. I love juicing. I think it is absolutely fabulous. It's one of my favorite things, actually. I mean, but juicing long term is a no, because again, that's going to, your body has to eat stuff. Your body has to eat food. So it has to have something to do. It has to munch. It's okay. So picture it. I don't know, Chuck E. Cheese people, when you put the tickets in the Chuck E. Cheese, it goes chomp, 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 chomp. Well, that's what the stomach needs to do. So it needs to excrete all of those wonderful nutrients throughout your body. And then if your body doesn't have that to do, it forgets how to do it. And then after you stop juicing, guess what? You eat a sandwich and you turn into a balloon. So juicing on occasion, like a 3-day juice or a 10-day juice cleanse, for sure. I'm all about it. I love them.
Okay, let's talk about vegetarianism and veganism, and we'll talk about. I'm a vegetarian, so I switched about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, and I eat a lot of stuff called corn. Do you know what corn is?
No, but I've seen pictures of your food. Has Taya made that for you?
Yes.
I've seen your photos.
And what do you think of it? It tastes damn good.
It looks great. I mean, if you could virtually send me some, I would taste it.
if I send it to you,
you haven't figured out yet, though. But I guarantee you'll be sending me some somehow.
Definitely. So it's the corn. It's not soya. I think it's plant foods. It's made from the earth, the plant, and yeah. So it's the substitute for meat, and it tastes great. How do you go about training a vegetarian fighter, for example?
I don't think that's humanly possible. If he's, I mean, I think all fighters need meat. That's just, I guess, the bodybuilder person in me. Just because, I mean, strength wise. How do you go about it? If he's great and he's enjoying what he does and he has all that stamina that he needs, then I don't need to go about anything. I'll just prepare his food the way he likes it. I mean, I don't knock anybody's preferences. If it's going to make a fighter happy and make a fighter make weight, and the fighter is going to mentally and physically be there all in one composure the day of weigh-in and after rehydration, and the minute he walks in that ring and is in beast mode, then more power to it. I don't personally condone it. Like I said, I like to get Brandon to steak eating weight. I know Brandon loves his meat. Any fighter I've ever known loves meat. So, again, more power to him. I wouldn't say, no, you have to do this. I don't want to change people's lives intensely. That's why I say I like to try and find out what people love to do, and I could find a tweak for it. That way you're not feeling like you're missing out. If a fighter wants to be a vegetarian or a vegan and has stamina without any proteins of like meat form, then hey, more power to him, and I'd love to check it out.
Brian, bye Jennings, heavyweight contender. He's a vegan and he boxes, doesn't eat any meat.
Right.
And he's doing pretty good.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and
so
I don't know him personally. I'm just saying any fighter I've ever met is a meat eater. I think he's fabulous, and he's got it going on. Like I said, if you can do it and have that stamina and be in beast mode, more power to you.
Now,
I'm all for it.
AO just jumped in and says Tim Bradley used to go vegan during camp.
Okay. And
he just said that. I'm just responding to what somebody said. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know Tim Bradley personally, but that fight he had with Brandon, I couldn't even watch it. So Brandon was so depleted during that fight, and whatever Tim Bradley was doing, but Brandon wasn't doing anything right. So I don't know. I don't know about if he went vegan. Tim Bradley is a badass fighter, and so whatever he does works for him. Like I said, if it works, work it.
Fantastic.
If it doesn't, toss it.
Shoaib says this is the same Shoaib who says he's in the best shape of his life thanks to KFC. Well, now I'm not sure if he's in the best shape of his life thanks to KFC, because he comes back and says, I always feel drained out and tired. What should I do to boost myself? I've got a few suggestions, but go ahead, BB.
Well, I think we're thinking the same.
Lay off the tissue, son.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm joking.
Oh, good Lord. Wow, dude, trip. Well, first dude needs to detox himself from whatever it is that he's been eating.
Or doing, yes.
And if he feels drained out, then change that feeding plan. Get on the Be Fit by BB feeding wagon.
Okay.
Oh, it's a trip.
So BB says get in contact with her, and she'll put you on the right path. But what happens if he's not in America and he's like in the UK, for example? How do people work with that then?
Then he can travel me there.
Okay. So all right, let's talk about food, certain foods. One food in particular I want to talk about is eating consistent or the term of too much meat eating. Can that create something that was it creatine? Not crate. Was it creatine? Well, you eat
creatine.
Yeah, and because I used to eat creatine when I was younger, and man, it made you much stronger, and you could muscles feel very tight, very very strong. I didn't use it for too long, but I used the side effects I didn't like of it, so I stopped using it. But there's this thing where they say if you eat too much meat, you can produce something in your system, which then turns out like a PED or something that I've heard.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. I'm actually not sure, honestly, of the term, but it is true. If you eat too much meat,
is it nandrolone? Is it nandrolone?
I'm sorry?
Is it nandrolone, where you eat too much meat and
I think that's what it's called.
It could be that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Well, yeah, there is too much meat eating because I think that we're not really supposed to be carnivores all the way. Too much meat can be toxic to us. Period. Too much chicken, too much red meat. Fish in excess is not a problem, but I myself, as the guinea pig here, if I eat chicken actually too much, I start feeling chicken toxicity to the point where I can't eat chicken for a while. Like it just makes me feel like rash, and it's weird, but I can't go near it. So I feel it if I do it too much. So I have to break it up. Chicken, fish, a little bit of turkey here and there. But yeah, so I get toxic feeling.
Shoaib laughs back and says, "Ha ha 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 ha." He says, "I'm 21 and skinny as shit, Ingram."
Well, does he want to put on weight? Because we could do that kind of a feeding plan too.
So I guess he's talking about putting on weight. Maybe he wants to look like Anthony Joshua. I don't know.
Well, see, again, that's also now we start talking about genetics.
Right.
Is it genetically possible? I have people that come to me. Okay. I have a girl that came to me actually one time. She said to me, "How long is it going to take me to get a six-pack?" Okay. So I looked at her and I stared for a second and I said, "Okay, go in the way you came, go out around the corner, come to the very first traffic light, make a left, pull into the parking lot, go into the mini mart, pick out any six-pack you want, pay for it, come back, yada, yada, yada." I said, within that amount of time, I said, probably about 10 to 12 minutes, you can have a six-pack. What I'm saying is, I cannot put weight on somebody, or I can't tell you how long it's going to take for you to get a six-pack, because I don't know if your mother is a beast, or if she's, arms and legs, toothpick with arms and legs. It all reverts back to genetics.
Right,
so if it's not humanly possible, it's not going to happen.
I want to talk about genetic thing, right? I have to go back to Anthony Joshua and all that weight he's put on. Now he's saying it's due to genetics, or his supporters are saying it's due to his genetics why he's gotten so big. Is that possible?
Well, yeah. I mean, but I don't know. You see, I don't know his family. I don't know his lineage. I mean, I can look it up. But it could be very well possible that he trained in a way, in a fashion, that his body packed on like it did, because it is hereditary. We are definitely down the line like our family, like our moms and our dads and our grandmas and our grandpas. So it could very well be that if he trained in a fashion that he has never trained before, that he was able to bulk up and put on muscle mass as he has, due to the fact that down his lineage, there is this genetic factor that there could be bodybuilder looking type people, and that could be very well possible.
People are jumping in now. People are jumping in. One saying, where was AJ's genetics before he turned pro, though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is this reverts back to what you had stated, Ingram, is that all these, you have a lot of fighters that say, oh, I went on this new diet and I'm feeling stronger than ever and I'm feeling better than ever, and then they get in the ring and it looks like, what in the hell are you talking about? Well, this could just be another one of those stories. I don't know where it was. I mean, it could have just all of a sudden become a quote unquote fad or something he tried out and it started seeing results and likes it. This bodybuilding thing, I'm very familiar with it, and it excuse me, it is very addicting. Once you start seeing definition in places that you never saw it before, like I mentioned earlier, I'm on a gig for 3 months, 4 months, and I don't get to the gym. I start feeling things go south. I mean, I know how to train in the kitchen and whatnot, but it's not like going to the gym. I start missing, those lines in the definition. And a lot of people that I know that I have trained personally have said, oh, I want to lose the weight. And then they start seeing things happen to their body, and then they keep going and going and going. I see them 7 months down the line. I'm like, wow, like you really took this to the next level. Yeah, I did. So it's very few people, but there's about 4 out of about 150 people that have been very successful with the feeding plan, that have stayed on it. And yeah, I mean, it could very well be that he started doing this weightlifting thing and started seeing a portion of his body that some stuff happened to his body that he's never seen before. But you know what? And also, not to use race or anything, but genetically, the African American man is in excellent shape anyway. I think that you look at all fighters and they just don't usually have that much of a problem
muscle definition,
losing weight or ever having that physique. Even football players, basketball players. But you'll see a pudgy white guy, and this is not racist. Please,
no. I know exactly what you're saying. Muscle definition. It's true. It's a fact. It's a fact. Now, Joshua. Again, I keep using the example because it's somebody who's in the public eye, and people themselves start to ask questions. You look at the beginning of his pro career and look at him now. Can you put on 40 pounds in 2 years as a weightlifter that quickly?
Excuse me, sorry about that. If it is done correctly, I'm actually looking at a current photo of him as we speak.
Yeah. And then look if you look at a photograph of him when he first turned pro, like his first pro fight, and you look at him now, he's like anorexic, and you look at him now, I don't call him AJ, I call him Hercules. So you look at him before, he looked like anorexic, if you can ever see an anorexic heavyweight, and then you look at him now, he looks like Hercules.
Yeah, I'm looking at him now. He's extremely happy, and that's what I like. See what I mean? And he's definitely hitting the rack of weights. There's no question about it. Yeah, he looks extremely different, but he looks happy, and that's also a very, very, very big thing with my feeding plan is that I want a happy fighter. I've been told before, in the last 2 weeks he's going, like with Jesus, for instance, he's going to turn into a monster. Well, if you look at Jesus Cuellar from 2015, he's the happiest that he he has ever been, and he looks like a mini Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what they were calling him at his media workout. So, and he was happy. He was singing on the way to the hotel. Okay.
Yeah, but hold on.
And he never lost his composure. He never snippy with any of us.
If you're Anthony Joshua, you would be happy. Have you seen the amount of money he's making? I mean, I'd be happy making that kind of money.
Yeah, but you know what, Ingram? I'm not joking. You can make all kinds of money, but if your body's depleted of nutrients, you're not going to be a happy camper. You know the terminology, hangry.
Yes.
Okay. Think about a boxer walking around all the time feeling hungry, and they're angry. That's what happens in the last 2 weeks when they start cutting weight incorrectly.
But with a heavyweight,
when you have a fighter, that doesn't matter what kind of money you have, it's depleting your body of nutrients and making weight correctly. I don't give a crap how much money you're making. This guy looks very well. I'm just looking at a photo of him right now. Don't know when it was taken, but it looks pretty recent. He looks extremely happy because he's feeling good. He's feeling good. Of course, in the back of his mind, I don't think that in this photo he might be saying, yeah, I'm a rich motherfucker. But he's happy. But you can tell that he's happy genuinely, internally. Okay, he's feeling good about himself. No question. And, of course, money helps. But trust me, it doesn't matter. If you're depriving yourself of nutrients and you're starving, you're not a happy person. No one's happy. Not your average Joe or Jane, and definitely not your fighter.
Okay. Gaza says he may have been hitting a rack of weights, but he's hitting the stack of peds. Mrs. Skeptical says, surely after the Klitschko fight, he must have focused more on his training cardio, yet he puts on more weight. How?
He's probably his diet. He could be carving it up. He could be drinking shakes, weight gainer shakes. Again, I don't know. I'm not going to call shots on somebody.
No, we're not expecting you to. No, we're not expecting you to. But Mrs. Skeptical continues, says, how are you judging this on the basis of happiness? Weight gain, weight loss, and jumping from one weight to another weight. I mean, people want to understand why or how. Because that's a professional thing from you.
Look, here's the deal.
Okay.
Look at a fighter that is trying to make weight, and you look at their eyes. You look at the deep set, if they have a black ring around their eyes, and then they look gaunt, which is very sucked up and like almost dead.
Yes.
Okay. And then you look at a fighter that has color and glow. Okay. These photos of Anthony Joshua, he has got color, he's got glow. I can see that he's nutritionally fit.
Right.
I'm not talking about physically. He's nutritionally fit. You can tell that. You can't fake it. If you look at photos of fighters, you got to really study photos. I also do photography, not trying to put that out there. But when you take a photo of someone and you got to kind of tell them to smile or, hey, I'm over here. They're elsewhere. A lot of fighters are. Look at the fighters when they get on the scales. They are not happy. They're not smiling. They're just, and their eyes get deep set. They set back in their head, and their faces are all gone, and they lose color. Even if it's a black man, they get pale. And this man in these photos right now, he has a lot of color, and that's what I mean. He's very healthy.
Right. Okay.
And so healthy makes us happy.
Great.
When we're doing the right thing nutritionally, we feel good. When we get deprived of food, like I said, the hangry terminology, you're driving home from your office or you're driving home from the gym, and you don't have your little portable shake cup thing, like with the little, I bring a zapper actually. I don't do a shake cup. I do an actual shake, a zap, zing, zing, like you get in the store made. If you don't have food in you, you become an unhappy person. And if you're not nutritionally fit on a regular basis, on a regimen, then you're not going to be happy. I can see it in this guy's eyes, is what I'm saying. That's what I mean, happy. His color is fabulous. He looks, of course there's lighting from the photography, but his color is unbelievably great. The whites of his eyes are white, and he doesn't have a deep set look. He doesn't look pale in any way. Of course, he's got muscles upon muscles, but what I'm saying is, I think he's happy also because of where he's gotten in his career. You know, that he's I think, like I said, he started this weightlifting thing, and he might just have started something that he never really knew that he can do, and then he started noticing something, and weightlifting is very addicting. It's very addicting. Not going to the gym, a weightlifter misses the gym and freaks out. We turn into very unhappy people very quickly. Very quickly, attitude changes, mood changes. It is definitely a shift in behavior.
Interesting, very, very interesting. Yeah. I get that though. I get that. I do get that. Let's talk a bit about food to eat. I don't give too many secrets away. One of the things I was told was that the night before a fight, we would be told to stack up for amateur days, stack up a lot on pasta, bowl full, loads and loads of pasta and banana, and then come fight day, we'd eat a banana for carbohydrates and stuff. Talk to me about that process if you're a young amateur listening to this.
Again, I've had fighters that have their, right about the time, here's what happens. I try and tell a fighter what to do up until, well, I do tell them what to do up until weigh-in, because at that point they're just like, oh my God, I need to do whatever. They're ready, you know, to make that weight. But I've had worked with like Jesus Cuellar, Fabian Maidana, you know, the Brandon, you know, and they want their steak and they want their pasta. These guys have been doing this their whole lives. So if that's what works with them, I'm not going to change it. Right. So I believe in the steak and the pasta, the filet mignon, a little bit of chicken, maybe some seafood as well. And the next morning, a very good breakfast, an excellent breakfast, you know, but nothing too greasy. Okay. But, you know, your eggs, a little toast, and then a light lunch, and then perhaps, yes, the banana. Absolutely. Some fruit, definitely fruit. Berries, 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 berries.
Okay, let's give you another situation. It happened recently, actually 2 weeks ago. Bermain Saverne for Deontay Wilder, he was on our show, and he spoke about, he said after the fight, he spoke to us about the weight. He said it wasn't a big issue for him. He was weighed in at 254 pounds. A lot of people frowned and said, well, he lost the fight on the scales. Saverne said, that's not true. He said he woke up and he was 245. He said that was in the morning. He said the weigh-in was in the late afternoon, evening, and he said that he didn't want to wait all day and starve himself just to look good on the scales, so he had something to eat. He was 245. When he got on the scales, it was 254. What would he have eaten to jump from 245 to 254?
Well, again, that depends on the body, and you have to think that he went out without food for however long he went without food, and so his body, I mean, he could have drank water and, you know, had it could have been anything. It could have been a bowl of fruit and a bottle of water. It doesn't necessarily mean that he ate KFC, no pun intended. So it depends on the fighter, it depends on their body, and it depends on how long he went without food. I believe the longer we go without food, the more we starve our bodies, the quicker we're going to put on weight, and it could just come out of nowhere. I know that sounds really crazy, but I'm, like I said, the guinea pig here, and I've done it. And I recently, with this back injury and talking about that IASTM stuff, I hadn't been able to eat, okay, because of the pain, and I was taking this horrible pain medication until I could get with my Fernando. And I kid you not, I feel like I ate, I got hungry at one point, and I made myself a nice little sandwich with some really fabulous rye bread, very thin rye bread, and some homemade turkey, and I put a little cheese there, and, you know, whatever, I loaded it up with veggies, and I kid you not, the next day, I swear I couldn't fit into my size 3 jeans. And I was bloated everywhere, and it's only because I ate that one little sandwich, and I ate that one little sandwich in a course of time. It wasn't just like I sat there and I was like, nom, nom, nom. I ate it over maybe a 2-hour period, And the next day, I'm still feeling it because I'm just coming back from getting that IASTM stuff. And it was just a small sandwich. But because I had gone so long without being able to eat from the pain medication, because it makes me sick, I'm just coming back now. This was Thursday. Wednesday I had the procedure, and today's Monday. I'm just starting to feel normal because I just started to be able to eat correctly and drink my shakes and do my egg whites and my vegetables and my turkey burger, and I'm just starting to feel normal. So I can't say that. I don't know. I mean, I know for fighters, they can, I have a term with Brandon, the wind can blow wrong and Brandon can do no wrong, and the wind can blow wrong and the scale will go up. So again, it could go definitely because he's gone so many hours without food and could have eaten the smallest thing, and boop, because our body's going to starvation mode. And then when it gets the food that it gets, whatever how much it is, it doesn't have to be a whole lot. It could be the smallest amount over the longest period of time, and then boom, it blows you up. And I know that personally because it's happened. I feel it and I've seen it on the scale. I'm like, how did this happen? I haven't eaten. Okay. So, and I went up in weight. It's like, what in the world? And that's how I do. I know this for a fact. I am the guinea pig. So this just happened to me just 3 days ago. So
what about fighters that are not body Stavern, not body beautiful, not Anthony Joshua, not Adonis, but a guy like that are not great on the eye to look at? And a lot of skeptics and critics would say your body's not in great shape. We've seen guys in the heavyweight division that are not being body beautifuls, but at the end of the day, they can still perform. Talk to me about that.
Well, okay, great shape, and then like being physically ept, and then physically, appealing to the eye are two different animals.
Okay.
You can have in fact, I have a person in mind. I won't mention a name, but a very large individual, and is in amazing shape, and you would never know it, and doesn't have the body at all in any way, shape, or form, and is has the most stamina and can do a whole lot, 2-hour workout, and you would never know that this person can do that by looking at him. So being in great shape means that you can run 6 miles and, do a triathlon. That's great shape. But looking good, like, oh, wow, he looks amazing, that's a whole different animal. So I don't know how these people are talking, because sometimes, they get the two mixed up. Of course, Anthony Joshua, he looks good, but he could look, like I said, these bodybuilders, they all look great on stage. Oh, look at his waist. It looks like it's 20 inches. Look at his legs. But can he perform? Can he actually do anything? Probably a lot of them, they're strong, but unless they're power lifters, no. So a big guy that's blubbery, like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man,
yep.
I wouldn't say that he's not in great shape just because he's not appealing to the eye. No way, shape, and form. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, so then would you be able to tell if somebody was on steroids as opposed to a good meal? Definitely.
The way I can tell that is that I study my people. I study my fighters. I stare at them, and even still, I know juicers. I've been around the industry. I was back, God, when I started doing lifting and stuff like that. That was back when steroids were very, very huge, and the skin gets a little bubbly look under it, like almost like there's a layer of water underneath the very first layer of skin. They look a little puffy. That's how I tell, but I've been doing it for years, so I can tell if someone's on it just by looking at their skin.
Can you look at somebody's stomach and tell if they've been doing it?
I'd have to look at the arms and and around the face, but I couldn't look at the stomach. I've never looked at the stomach. I usually can tell on the arms. I'll be like, yeah, that guy's juiced. That guy's juiced. But that's in bodybuilding. And fighting, I've not done it because I don't see why these guys would do it, because of the fact that they're just not going to make the blood tests.
Okay.
And also, that's not my job.
But they say there's a thing you can do if you take blood pressure tablets. You can wipe out. It masks the actual PEDs.
Yes, I have read that. But no, I have not tried it, and I would never recommend it. So I'm not sure. I don't know about that because I don't recommend steroids in any way, shape, or form for anybody. I back in the day when they were a little more, they were never really controlled. But now I don't know. I mean, they're made out from underneath someone's sink. So right now with the steroidal thing, and if the fighters are going to use it again, and they are going to take those blood pressure tablets, that's good luck to them because they're also depleting their body by cutting weight and then putting more stress on the organs and whatnot because of taking steroids. Steroids beat the living crap out of your liver, and let alone your kidneys. Forget about it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so then that with weight cutting, that's just a death sentence. This is it. Also, Ingram, I mentioned to you with diabetes. I tell diabetics, actually, I live with one, 15 years. And, I tell him, if you're going to do that, you might as well go out with a bang. You get a bottle of Jack and a bag of Snickers and do it like that. Just do it. That's suicidal. It's suicidal. So if they want to juice themselves, again, that's not my area. I don't do anything but give, good supplements that are, proven that they are not going to have the fighter come up dirty, and cook. But if they want to shoot up and then take a chance with the blood pressure pill, and take a mock test prior to, go for it. Then we go back to the question of longevity and whatnot. There is none.
Wow.
I don't know why someone would do that, but there isn't any.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just to close, let's talk about that other product you were talking to me about. Let's go into a bit more. Explain to me a bit more about it.
The IAFST.
Yeah, IAFST. Talk to me about that.
Okay. Well, that's a process of which you go and you see a chiropractor, and instead of them actually cracking you, like putting you on the table and cracking you, they take a tool. Excuse me. And if you go to limitless_FT Frank Tom, you can see Fernando's page, and on that page right there, I think right now on his Instagram page, he has the tools that they use. And what happens is he will go in and he takes the tools and they scrape against your muscle tissue. Now you can Google IASTM, instrumental assisted soft tissue mobilization. Again, it's instrumental assisted soft tissue mobilization. You can Google that or even YouTube it. There's a ton of YouTubes out there, and it shows actually what happens. I can't explain it because the only thing I could tell you is it's extremely painful. It is in no way, shape, or form. It's beyond a deep tissue massage. It's beyond. The recovery time, like right now, and there is bruising. I literally looked like I was either in an automobile accident and got hit in the waist, or if you look at my chest, my pecs, because he scraped my pecs. I look like I might have been domestically abused. I mean, if I don't tell, because I was wearing a tank top the other day, and I went to a Sprint store, and I said, "Oh, pardon me," and I was moving kind of funny. So my girl says to me, "Oh, are you all right?" So I pulled my back, I did this, I did my neck, and then my chiropractor, and I said, "Look at this," and because I wear a scarf too, a little necktie thing.
Yeah.
And I said, "But if I didn't tell you that, you think I got the shit kicked out of me."
Yeah.
So it is brutal, but done consistently over a period of time, it's amazing. On Tuesday, I could not move. I couldn't move. I I was wearing a back brace. I had to clean my house, not to get all personal here. I had gone food shopping Monday. I had gone to the gym Sunday, and that's where I did something. Food shopping definitely put me way out there. Then cleaned a whole entire house all day Tuesday with a brace on. I couldn't move. At 5 p.m. on Tuesday, I was crying for pain pills and had to go to the emergency room, got some pain pills, and went to see Fernando at his office that he works under another chiropractor as, because he's in the process of getting his chiropractic license. And then Fernando did the job. And Wednesday evening, all I needed was one more pain pill. And I took a Epsom salt bath.
Mm-hmm.
And I slept like a baby. I also dreamt intensely, which was wild too. Anyway, getting back to it, it has been, Wednesday, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, by Saturday, I was back in the gym. And I was back in the gym very slowly, which means novice style for the baby over here. 15 minutes on the treadmill, that's just warming up, and now I'm just stretching, so a lot of yoga. So today will be day 3 that I've been in the gym. And I feel amazing. I can't even express it. If I can turn my neck all the way around, spin it 360, I could. I feel I could. Putting my forehead to my knees when I'm standing up, doing a stretch, I can do this. Normally, it takes me, if I hadn't been in the gym in a couple months, normally it takes me about a week or 2 to be able to do that. I was able to do that 2 days.
Wow.
4 days. Yes, I was. And the range of motion of my arms, like if I was to punch, because I also kickbox and kick, that's how Fernando tests me. I have to kick. And so I kick, I do all my different kicks. And Wednesday night, I couldn't, after he scraped and scraped and scraped. So I had him do some more, and then it was just, I went kicked and I could move. It was very painful. It's not, I'm not saying it's not like a neck massage. It's intense, but it is definitely the cutting edge of care, and it done over a course of time, like regularly. Oh boy, it's amazing. I've only had it done twice now, and I can't wait to get healed from this process and go again, because it makes you that much more strong, and it actually makes you feel amazing just after you're finished getting it done.
Wow.
You want to do more, but you know you can't. You just set yourself back. But you feel like you can. And he works on CrossFitters and professional runners, marathoners, and stuff like that, but majorly on the CrossFit people. And you know how intense they are.
Yeah.
So it's a fabulous, fabulous process. Again, it's IASTM, Instrumental Assisted Soft Tissue Mobilization. And Fernando can be found at limitless_FT, Frank Tom. Again, he's in the process of getting his chiropractic license. I've known him for years. He's a fabulous world of knowledge on the body and also with training. Wonderful friend of mine for many, many years. Been following him forever, all throughout his career, and I wish him the best. So that's why I'm popping him out there, because he saved me. I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now, Ingram. I'd be hopped up on pain pills, throwing up in a bucket somewhere.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm really,
not lying.
well, I have to have a conversation with Fernando. Okay, BB, before you leave us, let people know how they can contact you and how if they need tips or they need a chef, how to get in contact with you.
You can get contact with me at bfitbybb.com or at zchefbb on Instagram, and that would be the way to contact me.
Fantastic. BB, do you have a final message to BWTM listeners?
Be happy, be healthy, be fit by BB.
BB Garcia, thank you so much for talking to BWTM Sports, and welcome back.
Thank you so much, Ingram. It's been so fabulous, my dear.
Thank you so much again. Take care.
You too.
Bye. So there you have it, BB Garcia. Now, some big news to be announced on BWTM Sports. Tomorrow night, live and exclusive, legendary middleweight knockout artist, knockout king, Julian the Hawk Jackson will be with us from 10 p.m. tomorrow night. Julian the Hawk Jackson live tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Okay, so tune in and we look forward to having you then. And once again, thank you to BB Garcia and her wealth of knowledge in the world of losing weight, in the world of boxing. And hopefully at some point we'll get to talk to Brandon Rios to hear his opinion on how BB has made an influence in his life. All right, I'm out of here. Thanks again. Again, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave your comments. As always, we appreciate it. This is BWTM Sports, and I'm out of here. Take care. Have a good evening.